Hey guys, and it's not model making time. Today we're actually just talking about the voyage of turning 30 and how I decided to solve it by climbing up a literal mountain. So this is much more of a vlog video, and that's cool. I used to do a lot of these, particularly in sort of my transitioning series, and so for anyone who's watched one of them and wanted to see what happened, well, still here, and we'll talk about that sort of more so at the end of the video. I am approaching 30, and as of the day of recording, this is my last ever day of being in my 20s, which is terrifying. Or at least it was terrifying. It's not too bad now. Okay, telling the truth, I've actually had a lot of anxiety and stress. So much so, it was impacting my work. It was really bad. You'll have noticed as well that my videos were going from weekly to bi-weekly to then having I think a 3-week gap, and then back to weekly, and then this, and yeah, there was a lot that was happening. And I think there's so much pressure around people being sorted in their 30s, and my life is definitely not together. I don't yet own my own house, I'm not yet in a position to own my own house, and there are people younger than me who do. I'm starting to realise that it's okay. It's okay not to have everything together when you're in your 30s, but that doesn't stop the fact I was going through a massive amount of anxiety and stress. So I decided, instead of going out for my 30th and drinking and regretting my life, I was going to go out and climb a mountain instead. In fact, climb Mount Snowdon, because as someone who's more north in England, it's not actually that hard for me to get to Mount Snowdon. Driving there in the morning, it was meant to be a nice day. It was actually meant to be good at the summit all day as well. However, 7 AM rolls around and yellow thunderstorm warning. And that didn't really go away either. But we'll talk about that even more as we get into this. You're probably seeing a picture now which was like of you just as you sort of reach Snowdonia and start seeing the peaks that were sort of in front of you and that you'd be climbing, and it was magical to see them, particularly with the cloud formations over the top of them. It was quite anxiety inducing as well though, because as much as it's pretty to look at, you're going to be walking through. So, I'm turning 30 and I figured I've always said I'm going to climb Snowdon before I'm 30. So I am here at Llanberis to hike up Snowdon. I'm incredibly unfit. I've tied my hair up. I've got like a hiking dress on, I've got a jumper on and some little shorts on. We're going to go up to Snowdon. Just looking at the scenery, it's so beautiful. Came here last September, took the train up. We were going to walk down, but wear jeans, we don't have any water and stuff like that, so couldn't stay. Gonna hike up. Incredibly scared because I'm really not fit, but this is the start of my fitness journey, so let's see how we go. So off we went, and we were following the Llanberis path, which is the most common route that most people will take. It's also viewed as the easiest route. The start of this is just around the corner from the mountain railway. The mountain railway which I actually took in September, having gone up and down to the second highest station because it's not yet operating to the peak because they're doing some repair work. Normally you'd be able to take the train all the way up to the top. There's a visitor centre at the peak of Mount Snowdon, which is mind-boggling to me, and then you can take the train back down half an hour later. Obviously none of that for us today, and we are going to be climbing the whole thing. The initial part of the trek is actually up a tarmacked road path, and that is the worst bit. It goes up to some tea rooms, and then after that it's not tarmac, but honestly that bit is the worst bit of the entire trek, I promise you. It is horrendous. And after that it does get easier, well, up until the peak anyway. I actually had to stop multiple times on that bit because I was just not used to it. Now, to highlight that during COVID I had really rough time, and everyone did, particularly those who lost people, but my mental health did suffer and I ended up taking some time off work. I constantly got ill, which I'm assuming is due to stress, but then that meant I had symptoms and then I couldn't go in work either, particularly before all the testing, and it was just an absolute nightmare. I was really not well during the entire COVID. Obviously for me, I ended up getting COVID in December of 2021, dragging into the new year with COVID. And I gained a lot of weight. The people who followed me will know that I started running and exercising and really trying to get in shape, and you know what, I got myself into a really good shape at one point. Before losing it all during COVID and gaining more weight than I've ever weighed, and I've struggled. I've been in a cycle of depression and despair and just not being able to shake it off and go swimming or cycling or walking or anything. So Snowdon for me was my chance to break that cycle. So as we started climbing, it became more and more apparent that it wasn't going to be the worst trek in the world, but it was going to be quite intense because you're just going up constantly and it's not flat terrain and it's a lot harder. Don't get me wrong, I can do walking. I've walked several miles before just to do my shopping or going around Manchester or Liverpool, London, things like that. But this is very different. In fact, I'd only bought my boots the day before. Better than when I went up the B29 crash site where I bought boots off Amazon. They didn't fit and were not waterproof at all. As we're going up, it becomes more and more apparent that the weather is changing. It's not going to be the sunny day that it promised to be and was actually going to be quite overcast, probably rain, and could get quite dicey. All the way up. This is the train. So cold. That's the club, right? 406 metres up, my phone says. So we're nearly halfway on the elevation, we're about a third of the way through the route. Again, the tracker I've got, so we're getting there, but yeah, summit's looking pretty hazardous, so we'll see how it goes there. Yeah, so as you can tell, it was getting quite windy. I forgot to bring a hat, which was dumb of me. Even though I made a checklist and checked it like several times, I just completely overlooked a hat. Even though I read like to bring one, yeah, whatever, I forgot. And that's part of the reason my voice is a bit screwed right now. It's because I definitely caught the cold up there. It's not bad for you for eating lunch. So we ventured on and we got to the halfway house, which is like a cafe that's halfway up Snowdon. It's basic, as you'd expect, but I mean, you can get Pepsi, you can get chocolate bars, you can get a sausage roll, you can get, I think, like rolls with fillings in. It's quite remarkable considering where it is. And it's not really that expensive either, given the circumstances. And at this point, I was going to be carrying on alone. Although I went with my partner, they couldn't continue. They just physically didn't feel up to it, which is absolutely fine. So I decided to carry on. I would say I probably got somewhere between 6 to 7/8 of the way up, but I really got quite scared. And it was more so because of sort of how the cloud was going and seeing people coming down absolutely drenched, some looking a bit like, ooh, that was a lot. And I just didn't feel safe. I'm not an experienced hiker at all. I've never hiked up a mountain, I've never done anything like that, and although it's an established path, I've always been told, be safe rather than sorry. As a result of that, I didn't go to the proper peak, but I feel confident that I can, and I think that's the most important bit for me. A lot of this was mind over matter. I am not physically fit, but I was determined and I kept going constantly. Every time my body decided that I couldn't carry on, I was like, no, I can do this. I'm going to take a break, drink some water, maybe have a crepe, and carry on. And you know what I did? And I got really close, but it was breathtaking. The views were spectacular. I'm so glad that I did it. When I got to the bottom, I broke down in tears. This is just because I had realised that your 30s are not the end. But after Snowdon, I went to our hotel and we went to the bar restaurant to eat, and as you can see, it's pretty much a pub, and it was fine. Originally I was meant to go to Carnarvon Castle the day after, but unfortunately it was absolutely hammering it down with rain and I was in pain from sort of the walking day before, and I thought, no, I don't want to be out soaking in the rain when I've already got a cold from the day before, so we'll just head home. I guess I should give an update on the trans side of things as well, because a lot of people are following me from that. So I've started having all the prep, like laser and stuff for my surgery, and I need to lose weight as a result of that. This hiking expedition, whatever you want to call it, was done pretty much to spark that energy I needed to start doing that, and I really feel like I'm on my way now. It's good to know that I'm starting to beat back the anxiety that's really got a grasp of me over the last month or so, which is affected my video output, but also my work and my personal life as well. I do want to take this moment to say thank you for everyone who's been there for me, whether it's been professionally or as a friend or my family. It's been an absolute pleasure. Firstly, Mum and Dad, thank you for everything. I was the worst child to have in the world, with obviously my undiagnosed neurodivergence, which meant that I just didn't act as I should have done because, hey, undiagnosed disability, who would have thought? That caused a shed load of depression, anxiety, stress, and all the things that go with that. I mean, you've all seen my arms on a stream, and my parents had to go through all of that. I've said sorry to them a million times, but we're really at a place now where we really get on and respect each other. And so, Mum and Dad, thank you so much for everything. Obviously the rest of my family as well. I won't go into it, but I really hope we can repair stuff too. My friends, who are either in real life or through Discord, through League of Legends, Apex, through War Thunder, and through other means as well. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure and joy to be able to jump into a Discord call and go, hey, I really need to talk about things, is that cool? And have you guys do the same thing and jump into a call and be like, Lexi, can I talk to you about this? It's been amazing to have you guys as friends, and I'm really proud of all of you. You are the kindest, most inclusive bunch of people I've ever met, and I'm so glad to have each and every one of you in my life. I've made some absolute cock-ups. I've done some really crappy stuff, as I think everyone has at some point or another. But I'm glad over the last few years I've really got my act together, and I think I've become a woman that can be proud of who they are. And hopefully my friends, parents, family will feel that they can be proud of me as well. I guess that's it. I've got a birthday cake downstairs waiting for me that my aunt's got, and yeah, I've got some massive projects coming up. They've actually just been to the mod shop to get a lot of that stuff for me, so I'm excited for my 30s. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye! Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button and notification bell to be notified of every new video on Mondays. You'll also be able to see me stream live on YouTube. Thanks again, I really appreciate it. Have fun modelling!